Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
It's been weeks since many families have been able to visit their loved ones in a long-term care facility. But a newly created task force in Cass County is working to change that. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with one of the task force members who says he hopes to have new guidelines released as early as next week.
After hearing from many frustrated residents and as a long-term care facility resident himself, Chris Larson says he knows things need to change.
I just have a feeling if we don't do something soon, we're going to lose more residents to broken hearts than we are to COVID-19.
Many facilities in the valley have their residents locked down in their rooms 24/7 to help slow the spread of COVID-19, leaving them without visitations or interactions with other residents.
Pushing to get some guidelines out next week that will hopefully allow visitation in facilities safely. That's my number one concern, is safely and as soon as we possibly can.
Larson says the Reuniting Residents and Families Task Force was created earlier this month and already has their first meeting next Tuesday in hopes of nailing down guidelines to slowly start opening care facilities back up.
Initially, we want to begin by introducing them back to congregate dining and activities, and then quickly move into how do we safely bring families back into the nursing home.
Larson says he's not sure how visitations will look yet, as there are a lot of factors and data to take into consideration.
This is not going to be a free-for-all approach. It's going to be an approach that we take it one step at a time. It's going to be a phased approach. But we're going to keep families in mind.
Larson says the task force's goal is to finalize their guidelines at their first meeting in hopes of then passing them on to Governor Doug Burgum for the final verdict. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
That task force is made up of administrators from local care facilities, state lawmakers, as well as members of the Department of Human Services and Health Department. Officials say as of North Dakota's total cases, just over 20% come from long-term care facilities. The long holiday weekend is upon us, and despite a virtual approach to many events, the weather is still very important to a lot of us. Let's find out from Hutch Johnson, who joins us now with a first look at our Friday weather planner. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. Actually, this evening will be one of the most beautiful of the entire week because our wind, even though it's been a little on the breezy side, not nearly as windy as it has been. Gusting to 21 in Fargo, still 25-mile-per-hour gusts from the south-southeast in the Jamestown area. Thunderstorms way off to the west, and there will be a slight chance of some thunderstorms both tonight and overnight, mainly near and north of the green line that I've drawn here on my radar display. Here's your planner. Then as we go through the evening in Fargo, I expect temperatures to be in the 70s for most of the evening. We'll have a few clouds out there and the wind tapers off considerably. And here's a look at Grand Forks. We'll have partly sunny skies for the evening with temperatures in the 70s as well. The thunder out to the west will at least hit a few of us as we go through the holiday weekend. Mike, I'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast on when and where the best chance of those showers will be as we head into the Memorial Day weekend here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch. We're still waiting to learn more about information about a body that was found just a short time ago. Fargo police were called to an apartment building located at 4102 18th Avenue South this afternoon. People living in that apartment building say that they could smell something foul, so they called authorities. A body has since been recovered in one of the units. Right now, there is no word on any sort of foul play. Stay with Valley News Live as we learn more about this story. North Dakota's governor is coming out defending a contact tracing app that's been criticized by privacy groups. The app is called Care 19. It was launched by his health department. What it does is, let's say, for example, you get COVID-19. Well, the app will retrace your steps and see other people you may have come in contact with. But a privacy app developer, Jumbo Privacy, says your data may be shared to advertisers. Last week, the app's developer reassured us several times no one has access to the data.
The thing is with our app, we're contractually bound that the data sits in our server. I am literally the only person that has access to that data, and we share data with no one. So it just goes into the cloud and sits in this tiny little server in Des Moines, Iowa, and nobody ever sees it.
Jumbo Privacy recommended users to not download the app. Brookins declined speaking on camera, but in a statement to us, he criticized Jumbo Privacy and says your data isn't being shared to another company. Governor Burgum today emphasized empathy when it comes to those who are wearing a mask and not shaming anyone who chooses to wear one, calling it a senseless dividing line like he's seen in other parts of the country.
If someone is wearing a mask, they're not doing it to represent what political party they're in or what candidates they support. They might be doing it because they've got a 5-year-old child who's been going through cancer treatments. They might have vulnerable adults in their life who are currently have COVID and are fighting. And so again, I would just love to see our state, as part of being North Dakota smart, also be North Dakota kind, North Dakota empathetic, North Dakota understanding.
President Donald Trump wants churches and other houses of faith to open this weekend. Speaking from the White House's briefing room today, the president said houses of worship provide essential services and called on governors to allow them to open immediately. If they don't, the president said he would override the governors. The president said he directed the Centers for Disease Control to issue guidance regarding churches, synagogues, and mosques. North Dakota is reporting another death linked to the coronavirus today. A man in his 80s from Cass County who had underlying health conditions becomes the 52nd death tied to the virus in the state. 39 of those deaths are because of the virus. 7 patients died with COVID-19. 6 death records are still pending. 41 people who died were residents of Cass County. Now, overall, another 90 positive tests were reported today, bringing the state's active number cases to 860. Nearly 600 of those cases are in Cass County. 39 North Dakotans with the virus are currently hospitalized. Hospital beds stationed at the Fargo Dome in anticipation of a surge of COVID virus patients were removed today. More than 24 National Guardsmen helping with that process. The cots will be sent back to Bismarck. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney said that he's glad the city's hospitals were not overwhelmed by the coronavirus patients.
In watching this disease, we thought it would double time every 4 days. It's doubling now every 22 days. So we really have time. If it starts to go up, we could reassemble the cots if we had to. But we're very happy that we have not had to use them.
Mayor Mahoney also says that people shouldn't be alarmed by the high number of positive COVID-19 cases in Cass County. More testing, he says, is being done in the area. Minnesota is reporting another 33 deaths linked to COVID-19, bringing the state's total to 842. Another 819 positive tests were reported, bringing the state's active case number to 5,467. 534 patients are currently in the hospital, with 233 in ICU. More than 12,000 people who have tested positive are now listed as no longer needing isolation. State regulators in Minnesota saying COVID-19 patients discharged from the hospital are being admitted into nursing homes. The Star Tribune is reporting that Minnesota has the highest percentage of deaths in long-term care facilities than any other state in the nation. Minnesota's Department of Health did so to lower the risk of overwhelming hospitals with COVID-19 patients.
I'm not sure about the rest of the state of Minnesota. I know at Eventide and other facilities in Moorhead, we're all practicing the same approach, which is a negative test coming out of the hospital before they're admitted.
There's no requirement for us to take COVID patients.
COVID-19 outbreaks in long-term care facilities have claimed 33,000 lives, or 1/3 of all deaths in our country. 2 individuals working on the campus of Minnesota State Moorhead have tested positive for COVID-19. MSUM says the individuals were last on campus Tuesday, May 12th, and yesterday, May 21st. The school says all people who worked in close proximity with those who tested positive have been notified. Here's an announcement that a lot of folks, I imagine, were interested in finding out. Well, the 45th annual Downtown Street Fair has been postponed. Now, the new dates have been set for Thursday, August 13th through Saturday, August 15th. That's of this year. Street fair vendors have been contacted and still being determined if there will be enough vendors available on those new dates to hold the event. The Great Minnesota Get-Together will not happen this year. Officials announcing today that the fair won't happen, obviously due to concerns over the coronavirus pandemic. It's just the 6th time in 161 years that the fair won't happen. The last time was in 1946 when the fair was canceled due to the polio epidemic. An investigation is underway surrounding a house fire at Spirit Lake. It belonged to a couple charged in connection to the death of a foster child. FBI investigators confirmed to Valley News Live that the home of 42-year-old Eric Longy Jr. and 45-year-old Tammy Longy was destroyed by fire. That fire started at 8 a.m. this morning, and it was a total loss by the time authorities got onto the scene. No one was home, and there were no injuries. The Longys are currently charged and in jail in connection with the death of their 5-year-old foster daughter, Raven. Flags are already flying at half-staff in North Dakota and Minnesota. They will be through the weekend in honor of those who lost their lives to COVID-19. The directive, first brought on by President Trump, will expire at sundown on Sunday. On Monday, flags will be at half-staff, of course, for Memorial Day. Later on Valley News Live at 6, what Minnesota's DNR hopes that you're going to be doing throughout this long holiday weekend.
And our central Minnesota counties cooled off a touch today. Near 70 there, 70 to 80 in eastern North Dakota. Not as windy today, and a pretty fair holiday weekend ahead. Details are next.